More people than ever are turning to plastic surgery, and Utah's one of the top places in the country for these procedures.
As plastic surgery becomes more and more accessible, sometimes we have actors that aren't trained as well or don't have the patient's best interests at heart come into play.
So what happens when a surgery doesn't go as expected?
I had no idea what I was getting into.
I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Taylor Stevens. We'll tell you about a Utah doctor who's been sued by 5 of his former patients, all within the last 2 years, and who has had separate actions taken against his license in Utah and 2 other states.
It's something that I've been wanting to do for years and years.
That's Roiann Marrelli, a mother of 3 who says her body was never the same after having kids. But pictures on social media, they seem to promise she could turn back the clock.
And everything's photoshopped, but you don't realize that. Like, you just want to see this girl has just got this beautiful body and she looks so great. Why not look into it, right?
In 2021, Marrelli decided she was ready to take the leap. So she reached out to a surgeon who had worked on one of her coworkers and set a date for a breast lift and augmentation.
I just felt like he was a good doctor. He was so compassionate. His bedside manner was so great. And then all of this happened.
All of this. Photos she shared with us show gaping wounds in her chest after her procedure at the Plastic Surgery Institute of Utah in Midvale.
All of a sudden I have this massive infection that my incisions have completely opened up. I just cried all the time because it was the most excruciating pain I'd ever felt in my life.
Marrelli says her wounds were open for about 6 months. A little more than a year after her first procedure, she chose to have corrective surgery with a different doctor, who found that the size and type of implants initially put in her body were bigger than she'd consented to.
I thought that I was gonna get like a larger C, smaller D size, and the amount that he put in ended up being like a triple D.
Every surgery poses risk. But Marrelli believed the infection was caused by malpractice by her surgeon, Dr. Christopher Kelly. She filed a lawsuit against him last year, which was settled out of court after she sat down with us. The dispute settled for an undisclosed amount and with no admission of malpractice or liability. In the lawsuit, Marrelli alleged she went into the surgical room in her street clothes rather than in a sterile hospital gown. That's something Kelly denied. She also shared post-operative instructions with us that provided few details about how to care for her wounds. She felt these instructions were insufficient to prevent infection, and she alleged that the larger, heavier implants contributed to the risk of her incisions opening up, a claim Kelly also disputes. At the time of her surgery, Marrelli says she believed Kelly was a board-certified plastic surgeon. She later learned that wasn't the case.
I went in there to try and feel better about myself, or to make myself feel better. I mean, that's what you do with plastic surgery. And I came out not feeling that way at all.
Marrelli is one of 5 former patients who has recently sued Kelly for medical malpractice. Like Marrelli, one woman claims she received breast implants that were not the size or type she had consented to. A third woman says Kelly burned her with a laser during a fat removal procedure. A fourth man says he received inadequate wound care instructions after Kelly performed a neck lift that resulted in infection. And a fifth woman alleges she received a breast lift that she did not consent to. Attorneys tell me her case recently settled while all others remain ongoing.
I feel for every one of them that they have had to endure some of the same pain that I have. Because it's not fun. It's terrible.
Kelly, who was previously a guest on Fox 13's pay-for-play lifestyle show, The Place, declined an on-camera interview, citing ongoing litigation. In a statement, his attorney said Kelly places the care and well-being of his patients at the forefront of everything he does in his medical practice. He stressed that Kelly's medical license is in, quote, good standing, and said Kelly intends to rigorously defend his reputation as the litigation matters proceed through the courts. Kelly's attorney declined to answer a detailed list of questions from Fox 13, but did respond to one about a Google search result that referred to Kelly as a board-certified plastic surgeon. He said Bell Medical, where Kelly works now, determined that, quote, the Google ad Fox 13 has used to question Dr. Kelly's credentials was erroneously produced by Google and is being corrected. Dr. Kelly has dedicated his professional life to caring for his patients, the statement concluded. Kelly also denied specific allegations of wrongdoing raised in the lawsuits and court filings. Stephen Williams, president of the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, says it can be difficult for patients to understand the difference between someone who's board certified and someone who's not.
Some of that confusion is generated by people looking to, profit based on that confusion.
Doctors certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery must receive a minimum 3 years of training in the field, complete continuing education, and agree to the board's code of ethics. And while some people think their doctor has to be board certified to do plastic surgery, that isn't the case. Any licensed physician can perform these procedures, so long as they had some form of general surgery or plastic surgery rotation in their training. That's according to the Utah Division of Professional Licensing.
I'm a board certified plastic surgeon. If I wanted to, in the back of my office, deliver babies, that is not illegal. It's a terrible idea, but it's not illegal.
Kelly's profile with Bell Medical stresses his 15-plus years of experience, during which he says he's performed more than 5,000 facelifts, 2,000 liposuctions, and 10,000 cosmetic procedures. His application for licensure in Utah provides additional insight into his training. After graduating with his medical degree, Kelly did a 2-year residency in plastic surgery, then a 6-month cosmetic and reconstructive surgery research fellowship. While reporting this story, we found records from Washington State and Michigan showing he's faced actions against his license in the past. Those records go as far back as 2007, when an order from the State Department of Health shows he attempted to form a romance with a patient in Washington State. He invited her to move to Michigan with him and his sick wife, so he and the patient could start a relationship if his wife died. The patient also alleged that Kelly touched her inappropriately when he performed a rectal exam. He said he did that to address bleeding. Washington State ultimately found Kelly had committed unprofessional and sexual misconduct and required him to pay a $5,000 fine and complete a medical ethics and boundaries class.
I think if someone has multiple disciplinary actions against their license in multiple states, that is a huge, huge red flag.
With one reconstructive surgery done and another on the horizon, Marrelli says she's starting to feel like herself again. But she also thinks about everything her surgery has cost her. Thousands of dollars, her job as a nail tech, a further blow to her self-esteem. Still, she says, there's one thing the experience has given her.
It just makes you realize that you need to love yourself and not to try to change yourself. It's definitely taught me a lesson to just be me.
Taylor Stevens, Fox 13 News, Utah.